Hey everyone, welcome back to our ClearVoice Employee Spotlights. My name is Joanna Bowser and I'm the Director of Marketing here at ClearVoice. And today I'm talking with JD Metz. Hey JD,
Hey, Joanna.
thanks for hopping on with me today. Before we get started, or I guess to kick us off, can you just do a quick introduction of yourself, your name, what you do at ClearVoice, and just kind of give us a bit of an overview there?
Yeah, I'd love to. As you said, I'm JD Metz. I'm VP of Growth here at ClearVoice. I've been with the company about 5 years. My background is sales and SEO and content marketing in general. With ClearVoice, I lead the new business department as well as the strategy department as it relates to SEO, but I also interact with marketing, with customer success and service delivery, really trying to make sure that what we sell on the front lines at ClearVoice is then delivered and communicated properly through the teams, and the customer gets the experience that we're talking about when they first come on at ClearVoice as a lead. So a pretty integrated role here on the new business side, and really play a lot of parts related to new business, but also flowing through customer delivery and experience as well.
Awesome, cool. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Like, what do you spend most of your time doing? I mean, I'm sure that changes week to week as well, but what's top of mind right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of everything. I'm an individual contributor on the sales team, so I have my own lead pipeline that I'm responsible for, and a quota there, and bringing in good customers and high-profile brands to use our content creation services, but also really working on who we are as a company, how we market, how we talk to our audiences and our leads and prospects and other marketers, what's important to them, how we're solving their problems, working with marketing on how we communicate those messages, really challenging the delivery team to make sure we're doing the things on the back end that we're talking about and what we know on the sales side, we know our marketers need. So a lot of work there, not only just on my own individual work, but also as an organization, who we are, how we meet the market where their needs are, and really delivering a core service around content that's meaningful to marketers that we work with, and solves their problems and gives them time back, and takes the challenges as they relate to content off of their plate and puts them on ClearVoices where we can really excel.
Sure. Something that you're talking about is how you. I mean, I totally get the integration of the role. Obviously, as the marketing director here, you and I work together very closely. But I'm curious, as you think about as a sales leader, as a growth leader, and then think about your integration with the organization. What would you highlight for anybody watching that's also a sales leader, a revenue leader? It's like things to think about in creating a more unified approach to bringing in new business versus that siloed approach of like the marketing motion, the sales motion. Is there anything that you would highlight there?
Yeah, I think it's really around the principles of how you think about the problems that you're solving for your client, right? And if you focus there, and what is their problem, not only from a business perspective, but from a personal level, like what are they challenged with that keeps them up at night and that they struggle with, and how can we make their lives easier, not just their marketing channels perform better, or their users more engaged with their content, but how can we make our contacts and our customers lay their head down at night and feel really good about the work they do, and not stressed out about what they have to get up and do in the morning. And we play a small piece of that here at ClearVoice, but any salesperson, any strategist, really, I think, should think in that way of not only like what is the service and the quality or the product or the value that we're delivering from a bells and whistles standpoint, but more about what are we solving on a personal level for that person that we're talking to, and what does it mean to their daily life. I say to prospects all the time, part of our job is to keep your aspirin bottles full, so that they can just have an easier day to day, knowing that something challenging, which is content creation, is no longer a burden on their shoulders to bear.
So, you've been in the world of content and SEO for a long time. And we can talk about sort of like trends you've seen, but I'm curious what you're most excited about in the landscape right now.
I would say it's an excited slash concerned, just over the future of Google search. Google, right, dominates the search market and the question and answer market as it relates to online interactions in a web browser. And they have a responsibility within that monopoly of the space to continue to deliver quality answers to users every day. SEOs like myself, we understand how Google goes about delivering those quality answers. And as a business person, marketers and SEOs understand how to manipulate Google to have their content show up at the top of the results. Some of those ways above board and white hat and ethical. Some of those ways not so much. And Google's done a great job over the past 20 years of kind of squashing all of the unethical and what we would call gray or black hat practices to get your content to show up. With the introduction of AI and Chat GPT, now we have this new machine to manipulate search results with a lot of content that's largely not original, and not a lot of human thought put into it. And marketers and SEOs can exploit this technology to create a ton of content on their website and appear to Google that they're a reputable resource for information when that may not be the case. So I think Google has a massive responsibility here with ChatGPT, and they're starting to do some things. And by the way, it's a great tool in certain applications and very useful for marketers in so many different ways. And everybody, not just marketers, but for SEO specifically, people know how to exploit that technology, and Google has a responsibility to diminish the value that those exploitations could have within their algorithm. So it's a bit scary, right? There's a huge risk profile in terms of how marketers will continue to get traffic and customers if Google doesn't do something about it. An opportunity on the other side of the coin for marketers that use it properly. So that's the big question mark right now. Exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, I would say.
Yeah, and I'll say I know that this is something we tout to our customers, but just for anybody listening in, this is something JD and I talk about regularly is like our own content program and making sure that it's checking these boxes. So it's not just a philosophical perspective from him. It's actually we put that into practice day in and day out on the marketing side. So I'm just kind of plus wanting that, if you will. Now let's go back across the decades, right? Or decade from content marketing. What are kind of the biggest trends that you've seen that have really stood out to you? Either things that have gone by the wayside or things that, continue to sort of catch your eye that you might, highlight in this just from your breadth of experience and content.
Yeah, my specialty is in website-based content and written content and SEO. But there's a massive trend going on outside of that where people are consuming these answers that they would otherwise search in Google on places like YouTube and TikTok and other channels where there's a lot of user-based information and answers. And I think that's only growing as a resource for consumers and users to find answers to things. I find it useful myself. I'm not a big social media guy, but my wife has, she's turned me on to TikTok as a source of information and answers for things. And it's really good for that. So that's definitely interesting. And a trend there is just more sources and more places to go for information outside of Google. On the Google side, as we talk website-based written content and content in general, the trend towards satisfying, the Google EEAT algorithm and the who of the content, I think is more and more important. Before you could have a strong website and domain with a lot of links and a lot of likes and shares and those kind of things, and that would get you by. But Google's added this data point of who wrote the content and how reliable is that information source as part of their algorithm set. And I think that's a great change. Another one of those things that can be exploited and has been and will be, but I know marketers and a lot of big content sites are really putting a lot of emphasis on bylines within their content, and in some cases multiple bylines written by this person, reviewed by that person. Not only as a trust signal to the user, Healthline, for example, has an MD who reviewed the content around a prescription recommendation or medication, something like that. Great for the user, but also Google's looking at that to say, okay, who is the person validating this content? And I think that's really powerful, just for marketers to really focus on and not ignore the importance of the who component of their
Right.
content.
Yeah, and not to like shamelessly plug ClearVoice here, but that is one of our biggest value props, right? Is that we actually built our network on authors and writers that are proven, not just like they know what they're talking about, but they've also been published on some of these sites so that they have even more authority in the web ecosystem, right? I'm curious, what's a challenge that you get excited about solving for our customers or our buyers?
I really get excited about innovating around our solution and how can it be better? How can we combine our development capabilities with the other capabilities we have around talent to create something that's exciting for a marketer to hear about. We have VoiceGraph and the technology that built our freelance network, and to this day it's still something that when people hear about it, they're like, wow, that's really cool how you guys did that. That's smart. I love, how you built that, whatever, right? They really find that piece of our story very compelling. And those kind of things excite me is what if we added this? And what if we did this? And what if we crawled these kind of websites? What if we married our talent database with AI to do automated talent matching? There's certain things like that I like to be able to see all the pieces,
Hmm.
and a bunch of Legos all out on the floor, right? And oh, we could make a spaceship with that, or right, like we could use those pieces over here with these to make something really cool. Those are things that definitely give me energy. Now they're oftentimes prohibited by our head count and our resources to be able to activate some of these ideas, but that comes with the territory in any marketing and corporate environment. So um, developing against what I hear from our customers, and I know what is going to excite them, is it gives me a lot of enjoyment.
Awesome. All right, JD. Well, thanks again for joining us today for your ClearVoice Spotlight. Really appreciate your contribution here. And for anybody listening in, if you need content marketing for your business or just want content tips sent to your email on a weekly basis, come and check us out at www.clearvoice.com.